You are listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I help female perfectionists beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good using the Fit Figure Formula coaching program. I'm your host, Stephanie Riles, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. If you've been struggling with all or nothing thinking, negative self-talk, or self-sabotage, this is the podcast for you. Learn how to get consistent and become the best version of yourself from the inside out. So let's get started. Hello, it's Coach Steph. I am back with another episode. Today I'm going to be talking about self-love and your weight loss journey. So if you struggle with loving yourself along the journey, you're in the right place. Okay, so why am I talking about self-love in your weight loss journey? A couple of reasons. It can be a barrier or a block for some of you who don't feel like you love yourself enough to reach your goal. You may not feel worthy enough, or it's kind of hard to work really hard because weight loss is not easy. Even when you work with me, I'm going to teach you ways to make it a lifestyle and make it a habit. But before something becomes a habit, it requires more intention, not less. So you're going to have to put some attention and intention on your weight loss journey. But I'll be in your back pocket. I'll be helping you and helping you manage your mindset and your nutrition. And it's definitely going to be easier than you researching and trying it on your own, right? So if you don't have that self-love in place, though, it's not something that you will commit fully to if you don't even feel like you're worthy enough to love yourself enough, or to set boundaries, or to say no when the time comes. So a lot of my clients will say like, well, I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what it means to love myself. And I don't think enough of us ask that question. What does it mean to love yourself? So that is my first tip. If you're struggling with this, is you need to define what self-love is. So this is not one answer. Okay. So you get to decide what it feels like, and you get to decide what actions you take because you are becoming a person who loves themselves, right? So think of the feeling, how you want to feel, and also think about what actions would you take because this is the way you feel, okay? And then number 2, how to grow that love. So let's say if you were to rate yourself, I want y'all to put this in the comments. Rate yourself on self-love on a scale from 1 to 10. Okay. So 10 is the best. It's the most love, and 1 is like no love at all. Where would you rate yourself? Put that in the comments. Now, if I'm a 6, let's say, the question I need to ask myself is, how do I get from a 6 to a 7? Not how do I get from a 6 to a 10, but how do I get from a 6 to a 7? And one very simple way, and this is what I teach my clients inside the formula, is you need 2 things to improve anything. And that is attention and intention. Am I putting attention on this area? Am I thinking about it? Am I spending time with it? Am I, asking myself questions about it? Am I trying to workshop it? I need to be putting attention on it, and I need to be putting some intention. That means setting some goals, taking some action, evaluating that action. Those are the 2 things that you need. Now, just by doing that, I've had clients who joined the formula and maybe their self-love was a 3, let's say. I'm thinking of one client in particular, but I don't remember what her exact number was. And by the first or second call inside the formula, she already rated her self-love a little bit higher, just because we had put some intention and attention on it. That will probably bump your number up by 1 point just by doing that. Okay. And so really asking yourself, what do you already love or like about yourself? So you need to start where you already are. There's already things that are lovable about you. There's already things that are likable about you. And I'm a big write it down on a piece of paper type of person. So write that down. What do you already love or like about you? And it can be the big things and the small things. And as a matter of fact, the smaller, the better. Because when you get more detailed, I promise you, you'll find more things. Okay. So what do you already love or what do you already like about yourself? And then you can ask yourself, what do I want to love or like about myself? What is it that I want to like? What is it that I want to think about myself? Especially when it comes to your health journey. A lot of you, if I ask you, describe yourself in your health journey, you'll start off with, well, I've been heavy all my life. I start and stop. I've been on every diet. I'm just not disciplined. I'm kind of inconsistent, right? And it's like, is that what you want to think about yourself? Is that the story that you want to tell? What is it that you want to love or like about yourself? Whether it's like something about your actual body, your abilities, your talent, your characteristics, like what is it that you want to love or like? And this might not be like a one-time question. Like I like to come back to journal prompts because each time you come back to these questions, you'll get a little bit deeper and a little bit more clarity on what that looks like. And that's really, really, really important. Okay. So once we put some intention and attention on how we grow our self-love from whatever number you started at, then we have to figure out how to track our progress. And in the formula, when you talk about kind of intangible things like this, a scale from 1 to 10 works well. Okay. And there's no right or wrong necessarily. It's just like, what number would I assign? And then also, am I actually showing up at this number? So sometimes it's like, okay, oh, I love myself at a 9, but are you showing up in love with yourself as a 9? Because if there's a discrepancy there, we need to fix that, right? So we have to just practice tracking. Where am I at? That means you have to keep coming back. And a good time to do this would be in your check-in time. So if you have ever heard me break down the specific things that you need to have on your calendar in order to be successful, a reset day is definitely one of them. And in that reset day, that doesn't take very long, you can just add that question of, where's my self-love at today? And so after you do this over time, you should see that number growing if you're putting intention and attention on these things, and understand that there's no finish line. Just like with our weight loss journey, just because you get to a scale weight doesn't mean that it's over. It's like our weight there's no finish line. Our self-love also has no finish line. So understand that and just use it as a way to check in with yourself. Okay. So now I'm going to give you some examples of what it could look like, because I feel like describing your self-love can be kind of like airy-fairy. Like I'm not sure what that looks like or what it feels like. And I'm going to give you some examples of that. And again, there's no one right answer. So if you can think of something else that I don't mention, put it in the comments. Okay. So number 1, self-love for you might look like being disciplined with your eating or your walking or your workouts, right? I'm someone that feels like love to me. When I'm keeping commitments to myself, when I'm moving my body well, I feel more authentic. I feel more like me. When I go to the gym and I've been going on a regular basis and I've been getting good workouts in, I feel like Stephanie. I feel like me, and that feels like love. It feels like I'm in flow. And that's really important, right? Like no one else can define that for me, but that could be an option. Also, feeling worthy of your goals, right? So that might be an example by feeling more worthy of your goals. Now, how do I increase the feeling of worthiness, right? That's a great question. You get to create that answer. Sometimes it's not about finding an answer, because a lot of times we're looking for a right answer, and sometimes there is no right answer. But sometimes you get to create, what does that feeling of worthiness, if I felt worthy of my goals, what would I do? What would that look like? What would that feel like? Right? And so you get to create this as you go along. One example, another example, setting boundaries around your health habits. Saying no is actually saying yes. Saying no is actually saying yes to yourself. So I am having conversations with ladies inside the Fit Figure Formula about setting boundaries on dates, setting boundaries with family members, setting boundaries with themselves and breaching your own boundaries, how to be okay with your boundaries, how it might feel selfish to set boundaries, but what if you have labeled that feeling as selfish? But what if that actually is what it feels like to have your own back? And you've just labeled it as selfish and something bad. So setting boundaries might be a way for you to love yourself. So ask yourself, what boundaries do I need to set around my health habits that protect my mental health and my physical health? Using your voice to speak up. This could be around toxic people who make you feel self-conscious, who make you feel less than, who disturb your mental health. You might need to speak up and use your voice and speak your opinion and say no or ask questions, right? Using your voice could be a way that you stand up for you, and that can feel like love to you. Another example might be scheduling rest and me time. This right here is a mandatory thing for me. I love me some me time. All the Virgos, y'all already know what time it is. I need to be by myself sometimes, okay? Now, some of you may need to be alone to get away from, toxic people. I use my alone time for my power hour or my journaling time so I can sit and be alone and think and feel and process my feelings and my thoughts. This is very important. I use my me time for gym time. I like going to the gym and working out and just being in my own zone. It could look like rest days, like scheduling in rest. Rest is not a luxury. It's mandatory. It's required. It's not a recommendation. It's really required. And especially when we're talking about weight loss, you think that you going to the gym every day is great, and your body sees that as a lot of stress. So actually, you recover on your rest days. You are building muscle on your rest days. So self-love might look like scheduling in your rest time and protecting that time. It might look like intentional self-care. So this could be like massages and spa or whatever, but it can also be just as simple as putting on some smell good lotion after you get out of the shower, or wearing your favorite perfume, or wearing cute pajamas to bed when you go to bed, or wearing matching socks. So this was a big thing for me several years ago. I was super duper stressed, and it was showing up in the way that I dressed, in how well I was combing my hair, and in matching socks. Like I did not care if the socks matched. And now I'm in a much better headspace, and I make sure that my socks match. And when I look down at my feet and I have on matching socks, it just makes me feel a little bit better. I don't know what that is. Same thing with like actually having my feet done. When my feet are not done, I do not like it. So it's just like those little things about being intentional. Getting my hair trimmed. I need my hair trimmed right now. But some of that is like routine maintenance, but it also can feel like self-care or self-love. Now, those things are not always like super pleasurable. Like I don't enjoy going to go get my feet done, but I like the end result of it. And it makes me feel like I'm well kept and like I'm keeping up with my maintenance. And that makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself. I like that. Another way that self-love can be actualized in your life is contribution. So doing something that fills you up, whether you're using your talents, your skills, your abilities for good on the job or at church or in life, volunteering, etc. Like you using your gifts and filling your own cup and being useful and valuable and showing up and shining, that can make you feel like you're loving yourself. Now, sometimes I'll ask my clients, like, if they're saying like, I'm so tired, right? And their rating of how much energy they have is pretty low. I'm like, are you physically tired or are you mentally and emotionally tired? Because those two things are two different things. Sometimes we're doing so many things and we're really busy, but we're not doing anything that's actually filling our cup. We're just busy. And so imagine if you were actually busy, but the things that you were doing were filling your cup, were actually lighting you up and giving you life and energy. You wouldn't feel tired, right? Like getting enough sleep is really important, but sometimes we're getting enough sleep, but we're not actually loving what we do. We're not actually contributing to our environment in a way that is filling our own cup. Sometimes everything that we're doing is just mentally and emotionally draining, and that makes us feel like we're physically tired when maybe it's not physical, it's actually mental and emotional. So another example might be getting therapy or life coaching, and in your case, nutrition coaching. That could feel like, you know what, I'm going to prioritize making sure that I get somebody to talk to, because sometimes I get too stressed out. Somebody to support me, because I'm the person that supports everybody else. How can I get support? Through therapy, through life coaching, or through joining the Fit Figure Formula and getting nutrition coaching. That can be an act of self-love. And I feel like when you do something and you do it with the intention of loving yourself, you feel it even more. It's just like, again, that attention on it, like doing it because I'm loving myself on purpose. It just makes you feel like, okay, yeah, I am loving myself on purpose. And you feel that a little bit more. Okay. It can also look like thinking more loving thoughts about yourself. And because we think so many negative thoughts all the time, intentionally thinking about positive thoughts or what you love about yourself is really important, because our brain is wired to be negative, especially if we're looking in the mirror. And doing mirror work can be very uncomfortable at first, where you're actually looking into your eyes, hearing your voice, or even recording yourself on your phone, like a video of you saying great things about yourself, and can be really uncomfortable. And it's weird because it's like, why am I embarrassed to say this? And you're the only person in the room. But I think we're just not used to doing that. Now, if you sat in the mirror and you said negative things, it probably would be a little bit less uncomfortable. Thinking loving things about yourself. So I'm going to give you some examples of things that you can say. There are numerous, but here are a few. One could be, I'm in charge of my self-esteem. I give myself permission to forgive myself for past mistakes. And this one is very important, because how you talk to yourself in your own mind when you make a mistake says a lot. It's easy to love yourself when things are going well and you've made the right decisions, but how are you speaking to yourself or thinking about yourself when you make a mistake, when you have made the wrong choice? So notice how you treat yourself and how you think about yourself when you quote unquote mess up. Okay. Another one, I am safe and I'm okay in my body. I trust my body. I can trust my judgment. This is something a sentence that you can work on. How can I begin to trust my judgment with my food and fitness more often? I am in control of me. I accept myself right now. Thank you for keeping me safe. And I have been noticing that for me, y'all, I've been stressed. I know y'all be thinking I have it all together. I have been super stressed lately. But I'm like, you know what? I've been here for me. Like nobody knows, like I know how my mental health, my energy has been. And I have never given up on myself. And I can truly have gratitude for me. So I think that's really important to acknowledge. Okay. So those are just some thoughts that you can practice thinking about yourself, more loving thoughts about yourself. So there's no right answer. You get to create this. Okay. So let me just recap. So we talked about defining what love is. What does it feel like? And what does it look like? What actions? And then understanding how to grow the love, rating yourself, putting attention and intention on that, and then tracking that progress and understanding that there's no finish line. Keep coming back to those questions about what you already like about yourself, and then what do you want to love or like about yourself. I gave you some examples of what action steps you could do that might feel like love for you. Again, there's no one right answer. And then we talked about thoughts, more loving thoughts that you can think about you. Okay. So in the workshop that I'm going to be doing in February, we are going to break this down even more, because I have more notes, but I'm not going to have time to do all of these. So I'll let you guys know when that self-love workshop is coming. It'll be in February.
Make sure you run, don't walk to the link in my bio, and we can talk more about how you can join the formula. So hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you guys later.
Thanks for listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you're new here and you're struggling with your fitness journey, I invite you to take a super simple next step. Click the link in the show notes for a free training. If listening to this podcast has been helpful, imagine being inside the Formula Coaching Program. You can apply for coaching with the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside.